Oh, yes, indeed. It may be Valentine's Day, but we're still here hanging out for Musical Hangout, the only music program where we like our women like we like our coffee. Cheap and from a third world country, Zach Hval, singer, songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire. Links are in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on the Instagram, they are somewhat consensually forced upon you. Folks, it is Valentine's Day, and I hope you're all doing something cute and romantic. Me, I'm here doing what I do best, howling at the moon, sniffing drain pipes, picking on the guitar like a fiend, like the pagan rock warlord I've always known myself to be. But of course, me being the, presumptuous SOB that I am, shall we say, I like to give out some advice around these many holidays that we celebrate. And I like to think that these apply to single people just as much as they apply to those of you who are, coupled up. And that's numero uno. This one actually would be directed at the men. Under no circumstances, please, I beg you, keep balloons out of the festivities for Valentine's Day. Do not show up to your wife, your fiance, whatever, with a balloon. Okay, now there's some family trauma here that I'm not going to unpack, but trust me. And if you don't buy that, at least know that there is one other friend that has brought a balloon into the equation on Valentine's Day, and not had it been successful. Numero 2. Okay, if you're single out there on Valentine's Day, don't post about it on Facebook. Nobody cares. We're not interested. I've been single a long time. You don't see me complaining about it. I can go out. You know what I did yesterday? I have the week off this week, so I don't have to work. I went to like 2 comic book shops, a couple of guitar stores, the liquor store. Did anybody ask me where I was at? No. You know who cannot do that? Married people. Especially if they have kids. So count your blessings and don't complain about the lack of a Valentine on Valentine's Day because, quite frankly, it's not attractive. Nobody finds it interesting, and that's all there is to it. Numero 3. I guess this one will be directed at the ladies. Listen, no matter how, and this is coming from a man here, your pal Zach. I'm speaking to you here as a friend. Men like to feel successful. We crave success, okay? So whatever he has planned for you, no matter how mediocre it is, just thank him for it. Make him feel special for it, okay? Men like to feel successful, okay? So if you appreciate it, I would hope genuinely so, but if you got to muster it up, I'll understand. Make them feel appreciated. Men like to feel successful. So that's my advice to you people out there for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day actually kind of sucks because it's like right in the middle of flu season. Like right smack as close to the middle of flu season as you can get. And it's also the start of tax time. And I work in finance for my day job. And as you can imagine, things get interesting for me around this time of year. But it's just like, so some psychopath decided to put Valentine's Day right, and not if it involves a balloon. We'll circle back to rule number 2. If it involves a balloon, don't do it. But no, it's also the start of tax time for a lot of people, and so it's like some psychopath put Valentine's Day in the middle of tax seasons, where especially when money is tight right now for a lot of people, the choices are, to take your significant other for a nice Valentine's Day encounter, or pay the taxman. And I'm here to tell you that. I will be cold and in the ground before I snitch on anybody for tax fraud. Okay? Now, I'm not going to take the penalty for you. I'm not going to take the fall for you. I'm not qualified to give out tax advice. I'm just saying, if you do what you got to do. But yeah, we got the Les Paul out tonight. It's been a couple months looking back on these streams here since I got the old Lester out here. Well, here's a fun story about Les Paul I heard recently. Is that one of my favorite guitar players, Greg Koch, actually got was fortunate enough to, before Les Paul passed, jam with him. And they in between sets or something like that, I guess they were just talking, and Les Paul was super impressed with him, and he was like, "Dude, what are you thinking about when you're up there playing?" And his answer was, "Well, I'm thinking about scales and chord changes and things like that." And he goes, "What are you thinking about?" And Les Paul goes, "I'm usually thinking about my wife's sister." Like, the old Lester was a bit of a perv, but I like it. I know that he's from a different generation, but like, was everybody back then monsters? Anyways. We're going to go around the world tonight. Starting in that grand old Lone Star state of Texas. Rumors spreading round that Texas town about that shack outside the Grange. You know the one I'm talking about. Actually, I don't even know the one I'm talking about. Just let me know if you want to go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice squirrels. Woo! Gets my blood pumping. A little bit of that ZZ Top for you. From the album Tres Hombres in 1973, the year of our Lord. Um, I like to think that, I have no idea what that song is about. It's probably about one of them nudie bars. But I like to think that Eddie Van Halen heard that. And when Billy Gibbons is doing those, Eddie Van Halen was like, oh, that's the thing. That's the one. Because Eddie Van Halen did those pinch harmonics all the doggone time. Yeah, LaGrange. Not familiar with that region of Texas. But apparently there's a shack outside it. If you've got the $10 to get yourself in, I hear it's tight most every night. But then again, I might be mistaken. You know, one of the things that Nashville, I was surprised to see, had a shocking amount of were nudie bars. Gentlemen's clubs, I think, is the term that YouTube would like to have. And I think I'm in trouble with YouTube right now. But, you know, my poor little church kid brain couldn't fathom what I saw. You know, there was the 1X's, you know, you're probably thinking burlesque, you know. 2X's, things are getting a little hairier there. 3X's is where we're taking it all off and we're hanging out. You know, just about every horror movie or movie that deals with New York in the 1980s has a bar like this. But I saw one time when I was driving through, God is my witness, I saw one that had 7 X's. I don't know what else more you can take off after all your clothes is off. You know, skinless women immediately came to mind. You know, just, come here, baby, I love you, you're a doll. You know, I you know, what goes on in type a 7X gentleman's club establishment, I have zero interest in finding out. Alrighty, we're going to do a song here by a man they call the Velvet Bulldozer. Hey, baby, I like what you've been putting down. Hey, baby, I like what you've been putting down. Search the whole world over, and no love like yours can be found. Hey, baby, don't throw your love on me so strong. Hey, baby, don't throw your love on me so strong. Oh, your love is like a faucet, you can turn it off and on. Well, someday, baby. Oh, baby, when you change your mind. Well, someday, baby. Baby, when you change your mind. Well, you search the whole world over. Oh, and I'll be hard to find. Don't Throw Your Love on Me So Strong, as recorded by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Albert King. We've talked about Albert King here on previous iterations of the program. He was born on April 25th, 1923, if my memory serves me correct, in a place called Indianola, Mississippi. There's a lot of mystery, actually, about his identity. Well, first of all, his name actually was not Albert King. When he got his when he applied for his Social Security card in 1942, he gave the last name Nelson and said that his father was Will Nelson, but his dad actually had left. That old story. When he was about 5 years old, I think he had something like 13 kids or 13 siblings. So at one point, he tried to pass himself off as the half brother of the other famous bluesman whose last name was King, B.B. King. And actually, even in his early days, he would bill himself as the brother of B.B. King, or he would even, I think he used the nickname B.B. King for a while. And one of the things that makes me believe this is true, is that Albert King's Gibson Flying V electric guitar that he was known for, he named Lucille, or Lucy, excuse me. See, I've already making the mistakes. He named it Lucy, and B.B. King's guitar was named as Lucille. So, there's a little bit of that. And eventually they would meet each other and have, a friendship and things like that. But, yeah, I mean, my favorite piece of Albert King trivia is that nickname, the Velvet Bulldozer, because it's, again, there's some mystery behind that as well. A lot of people associated with his temper. He was known to have a wild temper and but a smooth singing voice. So, the Velvet Bulldozer, or what's probably more than likely the case, even though it's significantly less romantic, was that early on, before he was able to support himself as a musician, he had to work construction jobs, and he drove a bulldozer, and got himself that nickname, the Velvet Bulldozer. It's a little bit of Albert King history for you. He's one of those guitar players that I didn't even realize I was ripping off until I actually sat down and started listening to him. And that's how, even people who've never heard Albert King are probably playing guitar like Albert King, because if you want the Stevie Ray Vaughan route, which I did, you're playing a lot of Albert King licks. Of course, Stevie had his own way of playing those things, but it's unrecognizable. One of the things I like to occasionally try, I can't even sit through more than 30 minutes of this sucker without, wanting to pick up the guitar and play. But the in session they did for Canada, where it's those two degenerates, it's disheartening to watch, because you'll never, no matter how much you practice, you'll never get to that level. Those guys were on to something else entirely. But I learn a new guitar lick every time, so interesting stuff. I mean, those are the kinds of things that just immediately give you instant guitar face. That's one I use a lot. That's my favorite. That's a free one. That's my favorite Albert King lick. Because it'll make people, I play that one a lot during soundcheck at church. People come in just to check out what's happening, So for those of you people out there writing church music, put some Albert King licks in there. And it's just another cool thing is nobody knows how he tuned his guitar. I think it's something like C sharp or something like that. And he was left-handed, so he'd play the guitar upside down and give him some intense bends. And of course, he's not using flat picks like the rest of the schlubs are. It's all phalanges. and the thumb. Of course, gravity's working for you, you know. When you're playing with the thumb, and you lose coordination there with the pick. So he was maybe onto something. But anyways, enough about Albert King. But we're not quite out of the Delta yet, because we're going to do a little bit of Junior Kimbrough. This is a good song for Valentine's Day. Stay all night, stay a little longer. Pull off your clothes, throw 'em in the corner. Love me, girl, love me, babe. Love me, baby, love me, girl. Girl I love, girl I need. Arms around me, hold me tight. Love me, girl, love me, babe. Love me, baby, love me, girl. Stay all night, stay a little longer. Pull off your clothes, throw 'em in the corner. Love me, girl, love me, baby. Love me, baby, love me, girl. Girl I love, there we go. Girl I need, be here, babe. Hold me tight. Love me, girl. Love me, babe. Love me, baby. Love me, girl. Thank you very much. Stay all night. Junior Kimbrough, straight out of the Mississippi Delta. Something got stuck in my throat there right as I was about to sing, and I had to play it off like I meant to do that. It's a skill you got to learn when you do these types of things. I'm going to do a little bit of Neil Young for you. I had something else to say about Albert King, but I forgot what it was. I'll remember later. Neil Young, this is actually not just a straight Neil Young song. I'm just going to start working in some of these high voltage Neil Young songs, and even a few high voltage Bob Dylan songs, if the good Lord allows it, into these sets here. So we've talked about Neil Young by himself, but we haven't talked about the phenomenon that is Neil Young with the ensemble Crazy Horse. Now, Crazy Horse was the Native American Indian chief, as we know, but it's his sort of his rock ensemble where they just do super long, jammed out tunes, and it's wicked. The band was born out of a different group that originally the guitar player, the bass player, and the drummer were in a band called the Rockets, but Neil Young kind of stole them and renamed them Crazy Horse. He did one album with him in 1969 called Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. It gave us such hits as Down by the River and Cowgirl in the Sand, which would be like definitive Neil Young songs. It would cement him as a rock guitar legend. But unfortunately, the rhythm guitarist, Danny Whitten, died of a heroin overdose sometime before 1970. So Neil Young was not able to do anything with Crazy Horse until 1975 with a little record called Zuma. Danny Whitten was replaced with Frank Pancho San Pedro, who they just call him Pancho, and because he knew all the parts, he'd listened to that first Crazy Horse record over and over again until the needle broke, as the kids say. So he was able to fill in, and that was the guitar player he had all the way up until I think here fairly recently he replaced him with Nils Lofgren, also a great guitar player. But we're going to do a song from that album, Zuma. It's a song called Barstool Blues. It's an apt title for it. It makes me think of Dua Lipa. So just pretend that you can hear that pool hall clanking in the background. If I could hold on to just one thought for long enough to know why my mind is moving so fast and the conversation is slow. Burn off all the fog and let the sun through to the snow. Let me see your face again before I have to go. I have seen you in the movies and in those magazines at night. I saw you on the bar stool when you held that glass so tight. I'll see you in my nightmares, and I'll see you in my dreams. And I might live 1,000 years before I know what that means. There was a friend of mine, he died 1,000 deaths. His life was filled with parasites and countless idle threats. He trusted in a woman, and on her he made his bet. Once there was a friend of mine, he died 1,000 deaths. Thank you. Neil Young with Crazy Horse. Actually, that was me. I made that backing track, but the song is by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Busting out the silver sky for some tasty action here. How you doing out there in TV land? You doing okay? I suspect some of you might be engaged in the act of aardvarking. If you have a kid because of it, I don't want to know about it. Because if you do, I'm going to insist that you let me pick the name. After all, because it was my stream. And I'm going to pick something weird like Gilligan or the Skipper. Anyways, I got the Silver Sky out. People have pointed out very loudly, and most of them to my face, that I have yet to do a John Mayer song, even though I'm using a John Mayer signature instrument. Well, tonight is that night. I'm going to take a little a trip to the Tasty Zone. I'm going to do that song, Gravity. Gravity is working against me, and gravity wants to bring me down. Oh, I'll never understand what makes this man, with all the love that his heart can stand, dream of ways to throw it all away. And gravity is working against me. And gravity, well, she wants to bring me down. Well, twice as much and twice as good, and can't sustain like a one-half could. It's wanting more that's gonna simmer to my knees. Well, gravity, stay the hell away from me. And gravity is taking better men than me. Tasty. That's the word to use. You know, a lot of people like to dunk on John Mayer, mainly because he's a bit of a scumbag. But be that as it may, the kid can play guitar. There's no doubt about it. They wouldn't give you a signature instrument if you weren't proficient in it. That's the way I see it. But, you know, that 2006 is when that record came out. He actually almost quit the business after that, if you can believe it. He turned in that record. This is why, you know, it's pretty cutthroat out there for fiends such as myself, because he turned in that record, and it's a fantastic record, by the way, if you haven't listened to it. And he was told point blank by the record label that there's no hits on this and that it would not sell. They were fortunately wrong, but, you know, being told that by your record label when you've got 2 albums under your belt and you're trying to, you know, make a name for yourself out there, is disheartening, at least is the polite way of putting it. But thankfully he stuck with it. You know, we didn't have the kids my age, you know, and admittedly I'm very young, so even people who are a little bit older than me, we didn't have anybody to look up to. You know, you got to think, we had already lost Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, by the time I showed up. We lost Jimi Hendrix, you know, a lot of people were retired. Mark Knopfler, Eddie Van Halen, that was what your dad was listening to. Your dad was listening to ZZ Top and Guns N' Roses and things like that. You don't want to listen to what your dad was listening to, you know. And so John Mayer was it. That's all we had for Guitar Heroes. And technically, quite honestly, you know, without going super far in the past, that's all you have. You know, so he's a bit of a gunslinger, if you will, kind of the last of the Guitar Heroes. Kind of scary, actually, if you think about it. Of course, you can find them. You know, you can find them. I find new Guitar Heroes all the time. Sometimes they're older ones. Sometimes they're new. Speaking of Guitar Heroes, we're going to do a little bit of that Crimson Domicile. Since I've got this fancy red guitar. I like how this thing shows up on camera. It's actually a lot not as red. It's almost kind of pink in person. But if you think it's red, it's aight with me. Almost started the wrong song. I was looking down there and I was like, I don't think I'm that far into my set. red house over yonder. That's where my baby stays. Oh, there's a red house over yonder. Lord, that's where my baby stays. I ain't been home to see my baby in about 99 and 1/2 days. Wait a minute, something's wrong. The key won't unlock this door. Well, wait a minute, something's wrong. Lord have mercy, this key won't unlock this door. I got a real bad feeling that my baby don't need me no more. That's okay, I still got my guitar, my main Valentine. Well, I might as well go back yonder, baby. Way back yonder across the hill. Well, I'm gonna go back over yonder, baby. Way back yonder across the hill. 'Cause if my baby don't love me no more, well, I know his sister Gertrude will. A little bit of that, what I like to call Crimson Domicile, but Red House is the tune. Jimi Hendrix is the man, the myth, the legend. We all try to imitate him. Very few of us actually get there. But that was fun. I always have a good time with that. I mean, I'm sort of in my natural habitat with the blues. All right, let's do some original material. What do you say? So we got this music. It's called blues. I've been introducing it to you in little stages throughout the night. We felt happy, we felt sad, we felt a little bit randy, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. See, just all this to say that the blues doesn't have to make you feel sad. But we're going to spend a little bit of time down the alley. So whatever blues you got, just lay them down. Can you dig it? It's going to be out of sight. Just throw your blues onto me, people. Because I'm the one with the guitar. And we're going to make it cry, we're going to make it sing, we're going to make it laugh. Make it falsely confess to murder. We're gonna hold down the museum. And we're gonna make Grandma's hair grow. Can you dig it? We're gonna wake up Daddy. We're gonna knock out my neighbor's cat. Excuse me. I could do that all day. And that's exactly, I didn't know when I was recording that. So that's a song called Zach's Blues. Ad-libs by me, of course. I released that on my instrumental record, an album called Sounds, a few years ago. The idea was to, specifically when I was recording, I was like, I'm going to do an unholy matrimony between the disturbing Telecaster sounds of Roy Buchanan and the heinous blues licks of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and we'll see what happens. And what happened was 5 minutes of just absolute terror. So you can check that out. But we're going to wind it down here. We're going to still stay in the tasty zone. Don't you worry, don't you fret. I've been trying to do this song on this stream for a while now. I nixed it the last time I did an electric set because I'm stupid. It's a song called Samantha's Lullaby. There's only one chord in this entire song, if you can believe it. Don't let your ears fool you. But we're still going to have some fun. I like to disassociate to that song. Speaking of disassociations, we're going to wrap it up here. Going to wrap up the whole scene, baby, with a little bit of a somewhat high-octane tune called Frankie's Barstool. Oh, last song was Samantha's Lullaby from my album The Legend of Frankie Bastone. This song is also from that same album. It's a song called Frankie's Barstool. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Fantastic. Folks, that's going to do it for me. Your pal Zach will be here next week. Don't you fret. Don't you fret. It's all going to be groovy. We'll be here next Tuesday the 20th for a little bit of that hipster folk singer stuff that y'all love so much. Until then, I'm Zach Hval reminding you that real friends don't let friends date ugly girls. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, praise God. I guess I can do something Valentine's Day related here. This is, ever tell you about the two old guys at Walmart, or let's say Costco. Let's make it easy. So two old guys are at Costco pushing their carts around, and they accidentally crash into each other. And the first old guy says to the second old guy, "Gee, I'm sorry. I'm looking for my wife, and I'm starting to get a little concerned." And the second old guy says, "Well, that's a coincidence because I'm also looking for my wife." The first old guy says, "Well, what's she look like?" And the second old guy says, "Well, she's tall, she's got red hair, blue eyes, and she's wearing short shorts. What's your wife look like?" And the first old guy says, "It doesn't matter. Let's look for your wife." Zach Hval reminding you that the muse will never die. We'll see you next time.